There's a real thing on Carnival ships that crew members actually call the cruise ship mafia. It's a real term crew use for something that genuinely operates on board, and it's coming up in a few minutes. But that's not even where we start. First, I need to tell you what your cabin steward already knows about you. Things you never told a single person, figured out just from walking into your cabin once a day. It's more than you'd think, and some of it's a little unsettling. 10 things Carnival cabin crew won't tell you to your face. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your steward is secretly profiling you. Think about it for a second. Someone walks into your cabin every single day while you're out at the pool or off exploring a port, and they see everything. Not in a creepy way, in a, this is literally their job way. But the side effect is that your cabin steward ends up knowing your vacation better than you do. They know what time you actually wake up because they can hear the shower running from the hallway and time they're cleaning around it. They can tell if you and your travel companion had a fight last night, just from how the pillows and blankets ended up. 2 people who slept close together tell one story. 2 people who very deliberately stayed on opposite sides of the bed tell a completely different one. And here's the one that gets people. If you bought the dining package and then snuck a burger back to your room anyway, they know. The wrapper in the trash gives it away every single time. For repeat cruisers, it goes even further. Stewards have talked about remembering guests from cruise to cruise, which side of the bed you sleep on, whether you like the curtains open or shut, your exact towel folding preference. Not because a computer told them, because they genuinely remember you. So next time you walk out of your cabin for the day, just know somebody's coming in behind you who could probably write a short, mildly concerning biography of your entire trip. They're not judging you for it. Most of them find it kind of endearing, honestly. But they know. Number 2. The real cruise ship mafia. Okay, I promised you this one, so let's get into it, because it's genuinely one of the wildest things I found researching this entire video. On a big Carnival ship, you can have anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 crew members working and living together, from 40 or more different nationalities. Filipino, Indonesian, Eastern European, all kinds of backgrounds, all crammed into crew quarters below deck for months at a time. And when you put that many people from that many countries together for that long, something happens naturally. They form tight, loyal networks, almost always along nationality lines. Crew themselves have an actual name for it. They call it the cruise ship mafia. Now, before you picture actual organized crime, that's not what this is. Nobody's running a protection racket out of the galley. What it actually means is that an entire department, say the whole housekeeping team, might be dominated by one nationality, and that group looks out for each other. They watch each other's backs. They quietly help each other get better shifts, avoid getting pushed around by supervisors, and generally survive months at sea together. Some crew have even said if you're genuinely unkind to someone in that network, word travels fast, and things have a way of balancing back out. Nothing dramatic. Just, say, that person suddenly finding themselves getting a little extra scrutiny from their own line supervisor for a while. And here's the part that's actually useful for you as a passenger. This network can work in your favor too. If you've got a problem on your cruise and you happen to be kind and genuine with the crew member helping you, there's a real chance they know someone, a roommate, a friend, someone in their off-duty circle who can quietly make your problem disappear faster than the official channels ever would. So yeah, there's a real functioning mafia on your cruise ship. It's just made of people who watch out for each other instead of people who make you sleep with the fishes. Quick pause before we keep going. If this is the kind of behind-the-scenes stuff you actually want more of, do me a favor and hit like. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who'd find this as interesting as you clearly do. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time, because we've still got 8 more of these coming, and a couple of them are even better than what you just heard. All right, back to it. Number 3. The vacuum cleaner black market. This one sounds made up. It's not. Every cabin steward on a Carnival ship is responsible for somewhere between 20 and 25 cabins, and to keep all of those cabins clean, they typically only have access to 1, maybe 2 vacuum cleaners between them and their assistant. That's it. 1 vacuum, shared across an entire block of rooms, for an entire cruise. Here's where it gets interesting. A lot of passengers have started bringing those vacuum-sealed space bags to compress their clothes and souvenirs for the trip home, because they're a great way to avoid overweight luggage fees. Problem is, those bags need an actual vacuum to work. So on disembarkation morning, you've got passengers all over the ship trying to track down a vacuum cleaner from their steward, and stewards who genuinely cannot spare one because pulling it out of rotation for even 20 minutes means falling behind on cabins that still need to be turned around for the next guests. So what's actually been happening is passengers have started quietly offering their steward $20 just to borrow the vacuum for a few minutes. It got common enough that Carnival's own brand ambassador, John Heald, had to publicly address it and explain why stewards aren't just handing them out. His exact reasoning was that taking a vacuum out of service, even for 20 minutes, throws off the cleaning schedule for every other cabin that steward is responsible for. So there you go. Your Carnival cabin steward is sitting on a piece of equipment valuable enough that people are bribing them for it on the last morning of every single cruise. Wild that a vacuum cleaner became currency, but here we are. Number 4. The sentence that gets you better service. Out of everything on this list, this might be the one that actually changes your next cruise because it costs you nothing and it's ridiculously simple. Ask your steward this exact question. Can I get you anything from port? That's it. That's the whole trick. And almost nobody asks it. Here's why it lands so well. Cabin stewards are on months-long contracts, and depending on their schedule, they can go days or even weeks without ever actually stepping off the ship. While you're wandering around some beautiful port city buying souvenirs and trying local food, they might be stuck on board the entire time, cleaning cabins. So when a passenger asks if they can grab them something small, a specific snack from home, a certain brand of lip balm, honestly, sometimes just basic toiletries they can't easily get on board, it means something completely different coming from a guest than it does coming from another crew member. It's not expected. Most passengers never even think about it. And stewards remember who asks. Not in a transactional you-scratch-my-back way. It's more that it flips the entire relationship for a second. Suddenly, you're not just another cabin number they have to service. You're a person who thought about their day too. And from what I've read, the payoff is real. Ice buckets that stay topped up without you asking twice. Extra towels that just appear. Your room somehow always ready at exactly the right time. So next time you're chatting with your steward on day 1, ask them that one question. Doesn't have to be anything expensive. The asking is the whole point. Number 5. Your survey is their performance review. At the end of every cruise, Carnival sends you that post-cruise survey. Most people either skip it entirely or blow through it in 30 seconds without really thinking about what it does on the other end. That survey is not just Carnival gathering feedback for a spreadsheet somewhere. For your cabin steward, it's closer to an actual job review, and it can directly affect their bonus, whether they get promoted, and whether their contract even gets renewed for the next season. Think about what that means for the person who cleaned your cabin every day of your cruise. Their entire livelihood, months away from their family, working long hours, partly comes down to whether a handful of strangers bothered to type their name into a box. And this is where most passengers accidentally cost their stewards something without even realizing it. If you had a genuinely great steward and you just check a general satisfaction box without naming them specifically, that feedback often doesn't even get attributed to them individually. You have to actually write their name. Ideally with something specific, not just, "he was great," but an actual example. The ice bucket thing. The time they fixed a problem fast, whatever it was. Crew members have talked about this openly online. Naming a steward by name and giving one concrete example takes maybe 15 extra seconds of your time. For them, on the other end, it can be the difference between getting brought back next contract or not. So if your steward did right by you this cruise, don't just tap through that survey on autopilot. Say their name. Number 6. 20 to 25 cabins a day, alone. We've mentioned this number already, so let's actually sit inside it for a second. Because once you understand what a steward's day actually looks like, pretty much everything else on this list makes a lot more sense. A typical Carnival cabin steward is responsible for 20 to 25 cabins, and on a standard sailing, that means fully cleaning and resetting every single one of those rooms, every single day. Not once, twice, if you're on a ship that still does turn-down service, and that's on top of laundry requests, ice refills, extra towel runs, and whatever random ask comes through your cabin door that day. Now stack that against their schedule. Contracts typically run 6 to 8 months, and during that time, stewards are working essentially 7 days a week. There's no weekend. There's no day off to recover. It's the same routine, cabin after cabin, for months, before they finally get to go home and see their families. And on turnaround day, when a whole ship of passengers gets off and a whole new ship of passengers gets on, all of that has to happen in just a few hours. Every single one of those 20 to 25 cabins, stripped, cleaned, and made up like nobody was ever there before the next guest even walks in the door. Suddenly the vacuum situation makes sense. Suddenly it makes sense why remembering your name and your towel preference is actually kind of remarkable, given everything else they're juggling. And it makes sense why that 30-second survey actually matters so much. When your entire job is this demanding, a little bit of recognition genuinely goes a long way. Number 7. Their secret side hustles. Here's a smaller one, but it's one of my favorite little details from all this research, because it humanizes the whole thing in a way the bigger facts don't. Crew live together in tight quarters for months at a time, hundreds of people from dozens of countries, and it turns out a lot of them have found ways to earn a little extra money on the side, entirely off the books, entirely for each other. One cruiser talked about noticing their cabin steward had a fresh haircut one day and asked about it. Turned out another crew member on the ship moonlighted as a hairdresser after hours, cutting hair for fellow staff in some quiet corner below decks. And that's apparently just one example of a much bigger unofficial economy running underneath the whole operation. Crew members who tailor uniforms on the side. Crew who sell snacks or specific home comforts they've stockpiled. An entire quiet marketplace that exists purely because hundreds of people are stuck together at sea for months with nowhere else to spend their downtime or their skills. None of this touches you directly as a passenger. You're never going to book a below-decks haircut. But it's a nice reminder that the people running your cabin every day have entire lives, side hustles, and little economies happening just a few decks below the pool you're relaxing on. Number 8. The Great Hangar Mystery. This is easily the most ridiculous thing on this entire list, and the best part is, nobody, including Carnival themselves, has ever actually solved it. Hangars disappear from Carnival cabins at a rate that genuinely baffles the crew. Not 1 or 2 per cruise, enough that it's become an ongoing, recurring complaint that John Heald has had to address publicly more than once on his own Facebook page. Passengers have gone as far as demanding Carnival stock every single cabin with 20 hangars minimum, insisting the current amount just isn't enough, seemingly unaware that the reason there aren't enough is that hangars keep vanishing in the first place. And nobody really knows where they're going. Are people packing them by accident? Taking them on purpose as some kind of bizarre souvenir? Leaving them in the wrong place and confusing housekeeping's count? Nobody's cracked it. It's just accepted at this point as one of those strange, unsolvable little mysteries of cruise ship life, right up there with why the ocean sounds so loud at night. So next time you're hunting through your closet for a hangar that isn't there, just know you're part of a decades-long, completely unexplained pattern that has stumped an entire industry. Somewhere out there is a warehouse full of missing Carnival hangars, and not one person can tell you how they got there. Number 9. Stop apologizing to your steward. This one's less a secret and more a gentle correction, because it turns out something a lot of well-meaning passengers do is actually making their steward's day a little harder, not easier. Cabin stewards have talked about this pattern constantly. A guest needs something simple. Extra towels? An ice refill? A quick fix in the room. And instead of just asking, they spend a full minute apologizing first. I'm so sorry to bother you. I feel terrible asking. I know you're busy. This is probably such a silly request. On and on, before they even get to what they actually need. And look, the instinct comes from a genuinely kind place. Nobody wants to feel like a burden. But from the steward's side, it actually does the opposite of what you'd expect. It doesn't come across as considerate so much as it just slows the whole interaction down. They're standing there waiting through an apology preamble before they even find out what the actual task is and multiply that by every guest doing it across 20 or 25 cabins, and it adds up fast. What stewards have said they genuinely prefer instead is just directness. Hey, could I grab some extra towels? Would you mind refilling the ice? Simple, clear, no guilt trip required. Helping you is the job. You asking for reasonable things isn't an imposition. It's just Tuesday for them. So, next time you need something from your steward, skip the apology tour. Just ask. They'll appreciate the efficiency more than the politeness, every time. Number 10. Their hidden request menu. We'll close out the numbered list with this one, because it's less a single secret and more a whole collection of little things almost nobody thinks to ask for. Most passengers know the basics. Extra towels, extra pillows, extra hangers if you can find one that hasn't mysteriously vanished. But your steward can usually go quite a bit further than that if you just ask. A mattress topper, if the bed's a little firmer than you'd like. A specific tea or coffee, if what's already in your cabin isn't your thing. A corkscrew and proper glasses, if you brought your own bottle of wine for a balcony night. Even a fan, or on some ships, a small kettle or coffee maker, just for wanting your morning routine to feel a bit more like home. If you're sailing next to family or friends in the cabin beside you, stewards can sometimes open the divider between your balconies, so you're not shouting over the railing just to talk to each other. And, if you're on Carnival specifically, ask about the soft blue fleece blankets. Cruisers who know about them swear by them, and most people sailing right now have absolutely no idea they exist. None of this is a secret Carnival's trying to keep from you. It's just never printed on a card in your cabin. The whole list only exists because someone, at some point, actually thought to ask. If you learned something new today, or you're just going to think differently the next time you walk out of your cabin for the day, that's exactly what this channel's for. Drop cruise for you in the comments if you made it all the way through, and I'll come find you and say, thanks myself. Hit like, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one.